Hey, MÆDON, lovely to see you.
Lovely to see you.
This is a second attempt
Yes.
because we basically tried to do this yesterday before your sound check. You played an absolutely banging set last night on the beach stage.
Thank you.
And but there were technical issues, so I didn't want to stress you out with the sound check. So we thought, let's make it happen another way.
Yeah. So today is better.
Today is definitely better. So MÆDON is, we first met in 2016 in person in NAMM.
Yep.
You've been kind of hanging out on the site. I recognise your name, and you were living. Were you in New York or Baltimore then?
I was in Baltimore.
Okay.
I was in Baltimore then, because that's where I'm originally from. Yeah. I later moved to Brooklyn.
Yeah.
But yeah. But I was also my name back then was Pulse with Mod. So I was
that's
like,
right. Of course. Yes, I've forgotten about that.
I was Pulse. I was Pulse with Mod. Yeah.
So there's an affinity there. Of course.
Yeah.
Well, of course we got to meet.
Yeah. Of course we have to meet. That was why the original me coming up and being like yeah.
So since then, you kind of had a complete change of life. You just said you said fuck this. I'm going to Berlin and pursue my techno dream career, and you've kind of done that, and now.
Yep.
So now you've got a residency in Tresor.
Yep.
You're like all over social. I mean, people are rocking your recordings. I mean, you're living the dream. Must have been. It's a journey, I'm sure, but it sounds really simple. It wasn't that straightforward, right? But
yeah, it's never straightforward. Never straightforward. But yeah, living the dream.
So, yesterday, is this the same setup as you were using yesterday? Or?
Yeah, I mean, I'm missing like a few things, but that aren't needed. It's like I use my mixer as an A&H Zone 96.
Yes.
Very essential, very important because of the sends. So I'll start with, I use the rhythm.
Yeah, Analog Rytm.
Yep. So what I go and I do is I actually use a little summing mixer. So I actually use two of the voices, the bass drum and the snare drum. Those are both kicks. So I've got a total of 4 kicks going into this and then going into channel 1 of the zone.
Right, so then you can...
And then everything else from the rhythm then goes into channel 2.
Yeah. And
then I have here, I've got 2 outputs. So the ataraxic is my voice number 1.
Yeah.
And then the pizza is my voice number 2, and then the oscillator is my voice number 3. Ataraxic and the pizza goes and performs like bassline duties, weaving in and out, and then the oscillator is the leads.
So kicks in the kind of music that you're doing are massively important, right?
It is
And
essential.
you have a lot. I mean, because you've always been, from what I remember, Electron Girl. I remember, did we have a Facebook conversation where you were trying to get some help with problems with pads and you?
You've
always used Electron.
This is like I actually have 3 rhythms. I've got the Mark 1, which I'll never get rid of, and then this is actually my studio rhythm, but since I'm here in Berlin, I just brought my studio, but I have a gray one that I travel with. So. The Mark 1 just would always have like issues with dust getting in there and then the pad's not working, or sometimes the pad's just like triggering,
Do you trigger stuff live, or are you generally working on kind of predefined patterns that you're evolving based on a rough plan? I mean, how does...
So my patterns are pre-programmed.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been some times where I've gone and like improvised and done some new things, but for the most part, no, I take a lot of time with just getting everything. And all the then when I actually play, it's like remixing or DJing all of the different sounds and everything, and that's like all improvised.
So do you tend to use... Because I mean, I'm old school, I think, in terms of the concepts of tracks and stuff, whereas... Yeah. I guess with specifically with this style of music, there's normally just a very long evolving kind of thing. I mean, does the tempo stay the same, or do you actually transition between things, and how do you handle that?
The tempo stays the same. I play like at 138. That's just kind of my happy tempo.
You're happy.
My happy tempo. It's not too fast. It's not too slow. It's like, because most of the time when you're performing as a live set in a club, so like at Tresor, for example, the club opens up at 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And then the live set is usually at 3 o'clock or even 4 o'clock a.m.
So do they use, I've never been to one of these big nightclubs. So does it usually start a little lower and it gets to 138 throughout the night?
Well, if you're the opening DJ, that's how it should go. And I've opened, I DJ, and I've opened, and that's how it should be. Start off at like, you can even start off like 105 BPM, and then build it up. But like with a live set though, it's like you're usually tending to play at a peak hour, so
you want everybody to just be ready.
So in live sets usually is an hour, but like I'm actually now like an hour and a half or even 2 hours because of more of like the journey. But back to you were asking about like tracks. I look at my machines and each bank, each sequence. So sequence 1, sequence 2, so A1, A2, A3, A4. Those are full tracks.
Right, okay.
So
so then you're kind of bringing elements in and out.
So then I just go and I bring elements in and out, and I play with, rather than playing with notes and playing with it's like I'm playing with and manipulating the sound live.
So you've also got the Oxi, which
yes, I do, which is
I'm seeing that in a lot of places.
Amazing. I've got some like I want the 2, but I just got this one like at the end of the summer last year.
Right.
But
because it's really good for performative stuff and ratcheting and just changing. So do you perform with it, or do you tend to let it run its course? How do you use it yourself?
I let it perform. So with my MÆDON live set, it's like not improvised. But I have plans for the future to be doing collaborative live sets.
Yeah.
So when I do the collaborative live sets, it's going to be all improvised.
Right.
So that's why, like, also too, the Oxi One.
Yeah, I mean, I know
having the grid and not having, because it's like, I mean, I have like the Erica Synths black sequencer, and I love it.
Yeah, a lot of people use that.
I love that one, but it's like, with going and like here, it's like, from it's like you got your scale right here, and here's the tonic, and then so it's like you can like design. It's just quick and easy,
Well, there's sort of more to the interface to be able to actually perform against, rather than Erica Synths. From what I've seen, we just did something with Game Changer, and they were using it to run some system, and there's a bit of menu stuff. I mean, it's muscle memory. So
it's muscle memory. It's like, I mean, menu stuff. Wait. Menu stuff?
Yeah, I think we know about that one. So, I mean, how long does it take you to kind of get that muscle memory for the stuff that you're doing? Because I think when people perform, I don't necessarily think a lot of people understand how much time you might put in as a performer so you don't have to think about what's happening. You can then enjoy the moment and react, whereas if you're not rehearsed enough, you tend to kind of not be able to be in the moment, right?
Right. Well, I mean, I've been using the Analog Rytm for 10 years now.
Right. So
it's like it's second nature. I mean, it was a little bit odd with some things, with going and switching from the Mark 1 to Mark 2.
Right.
But like, but yeah, I mean, I don't use, like, I have my certain ways of working. You can go and like have and use like you can have like a multi track where you hit one track and it's got actually 8 different tracks on it. So it's great for like if you're doing drums.
Are you using the breakout for the CV and stuff on this?
Yep, it's right here.
Ah, okay, right.
It's right there.
So when you're these voices, I mean, do they represent? Because I mean, you're talking different tracks, but you're staying at the same tempo. So do you have kind of like one track where you'd be using one specific voice, and then another track you might use a slightly different other sound, or okay.
Yeah, it's all just what sounds good at the moment. I go and I have certain things, because like I'm a classically trained musician, so there's certain things where like I have like, the ataraxic here, which is like my voice number 1 is like the lowest, the sub bass, which I do is kind of like a pedal point where it's like, it's just the tonic note.
It's an interesting kind of juxtaposition, classically trained musician and techno, which seem kind of diametrically opposed. Where are the joining points for that?
Well, I would actually say that techno is more like Baroque and contrapunctual, so Bach, not like traditional Beethoven or the Romantic era, because Bach is like it's all mono voices that just interweave.
Counterpoint.
It's counterpoint. So techno is counterpoint.
Right. Cool.
So yeah.
And what about, do you tend to favour a drier approach and some more natural sound? Because, I mean, there's a tendency to kind of use a lot of effects and a lot of kind of atmosphere, and it takes up a lot of space. I mean, does that work for you? I mean, how do you approach your sound?
I only recently really started like actually working on the atmosphere. That's what the sample drum does. So I've got like a 1 bar like sound like sample in the sample drum, and then it goes through the Sound Force, the dual filter. So I have this. So this is a low pass and this is a high pass, and then it goes in directly into the meta into the Z-verb out to the second. It's actually supposed to be an input, but I use it as an output on the case.
So you got a wet mix that you can tweak.
So this is like it's like the filter. It's like you're not even really like gonna like hear actually what the original sample is. It's just to get that like atmosphere, like reverb, and to kind of fill out a little bit of the.
And are you the sort of person that tweaks some of the sounds to the room and to the system, or do you try and keep it absolutely? So I
do it always it's always to where I'm at.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's interesting. I mean, I think the thing is, obviously with techno, or certainly with high tempo tunes where there's a lot of low energy, the acoustics of the room are so important. I mean, do you ever find yourself in a venue where it's like, well, this is like a church, this isn't going to work because there's 9 seconds of reverb at 100 hertz. I've done a couple of those gigs here. There was an old bus station.
Then no reverb. Like for example, my kicks are dry. Actually, we should go back to my kicks because it's very important. So this.
Is that the Otto biscuit?
Boom, it's the boom.
Boom, okay.
The boom. So I use this as a send. So this, since I've got my kicks, dry going into a zone on channel 1, not here, but so visualize. So then I have it going through send 2. So it's actually on the zone.
So you run them like parallel?
I run them parallel, and I do parallel compression.
Ah, okay. So this is like is this like a EQ filter drive type?
It is a saturation / compressor.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, it's saturated. It's a distortion. There's like 5 different algorithms of distortion. I use the lowest one because I'm not going for. It's like I want
some clarity.
Like I aim like. I started off with doing more industrial and much harder, but now I really want those kicks to be like, to just.
So do you find, I mean, this is because people, the disciples of this kind of music, people who are like really, are they open-minded enough to sort of enjoy some of the more experimental sounds that you might want to go in, areas do you want to go in?
Absolutely.
Or do you kind of rein it in just because you know?
Yeah, just go and look at like Dasha Rush.
Right.
Look at Function, so many, like R Rose, and I've just been full throttle on just making like dance music, but no, I really look forward to like now putting some time aside to actually like I want to make some like good listening like electro.
Something more cerebral rather than like physical.
Yeah. Because actually, that's the kind of stuff actually comes a lot more natural for me to make.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. So, do you when you're in it doing it, are you totally in the zone and focusing on this, or do you get a chance to sort of enjoy the atmosphere and the way that the crowd responds? I mean,
Oh yeah, no, I totally step back sometimes and just like let the machines like do their thing. It's actually really important to like it's like it's. I mean, especially in a club setting, it is all about. It's like the dancers, the crowd is it's
the extra energy.
They're part of the set too.
Right, interesting. So what's next? I mean, you're at Tresor. When do you play? I mean, what nights do you play at Tresor?
I find out it's like I play like quarterly.
Ah, okay, right.
So yeah, my next one's coming up a few weeks.
Right, cool.
Yeah.
What else? I mean, you've got releases, and where do people find your music?
You can find my music all over Spotify, Bandcamp. I've got, I've been on Sonic Groove. I have my own label, Rant and Rave. And I did a collaboration with my old partner, A&H on Tresor, MÆDON X. We have a full length on Tresor. But I've got some labels that I'm gotta deliver some tracks to. So
Oh,
all
nice.
summer I'm gonna be in my new home studio, which is like, it's like a dream. Cause like for like 2.5 years I had a studio in Lichtenberg.
Right.
And yeah, I
It's
don't
getting
like
it right.
to
What do you monitor with? I'm just curious. How do you?
I use the Neumann
That's
Cage 310. They got 3 ways. Cage 310s.
I've heard a lot of good stuff for those full range. It's funny, isn't it? Especially when you're dealing with a lot of low end energy, when you finally figure out.
Well, I also have a sub. I didn't. Okay, so I at first.
How are your neighbours?
My neighbors are fine.
Okay.
I don't need to actually put it up that loud.
No, right, yeah. That's
Yeah, 'cause they're really like they're really great. Yeah. At first I didn't have the sub.
Yeah.
And when I was in my studio, I would crank it loud, and the limiter would come on. So then getting the sub then took a lot of the.
Right.
You know,
the
space.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and it's just like, yeah.
And then, that translates really well to the sort of systems that you're playing in clubs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I used to have like the Audio Technica. It was an M50Xs or something like that. Those were like kind of like my go-to, but now I'm using the Sennheiser 25s as like my reference. So reference in headphones of like on my mix and like, yeah. But yeah, I mean, I guess I've been doing this long enough to the degree where I usually know, like, I know the frequency where to put my kicks at.
Yeah.
And that's really the big thing. You don't want to go too low because a lot of the, some of the clubs, they don't have, you have a kick that's at like 38 hertz. It's not going to translate with most clubs. Most clubs are tuned a little bit higher.
So can you tune your kick on the day to just sort of match the room sometimes, or do you tend to leave it?
No. No. Oh no. No, I always have them right. I always have my kicks right in a certain pocket.
Right.
And it's like I at first was going and tuning my kicks to be in the key of the track.
Oh right, okay.
But like now, like no.
So is that part of like the identity of an artist like you, where the kick definition, the kick frequency you choose is actually quite a signature sound?
It is that is probably one of my signatures. Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
And most of the kicks coming from the Analog Rytm, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's using 2 of the voices. So I use the snare drum
gotcha.
too. So I use the analog machines, and then I have my own samples, and usually always my most common samples that I use is a machine drum kick, and then also an 808.
Right, okay. The classics.
Yeah.
MÆDON, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good luck with everything you do.
Thank you. Thank you.